Booktube. I am back. Never really completely left, just have had a hard time getting back to making videos. If you've been around my channel for a while, you know who that dog was in the beginning, but if you're new to my channel, that is my late dog, Skippy. Today, the 25th of August, would have been her 21st birthday. Just feeling her loss a little bit more today. She's been gone a little over 2 years now, and yeah, I miss her every single day. Today I'm wearing my little Shih Tzu shirt. It says I Shih Tzu not on it, just in her memory. But anyway, I thought today I would finally make the opportunity, or take the opportunity to make a video and come back. It's been about 3 months. I believe I mentioned in my last video that my mom, getting older now, is needing a little bit more care from me, and that kind of escalated July 1st when she fell and fractured her wrist in like 3 spots. Luckily it was not her dominant hand. She's now recovering, got out of the cast. She's in a temporary cast and can use her fingers and things like that, but it's just taking more of my time, and she's needing more assistance with various things. So it's been very hard to find time to make a video. On top of that, same as last video, I'm having a hard time getting into the books I've been picking up, or just feeling motivated enough to read. Sometimes I'm just so tired, I just want to sit in front of the TV and kind of just chill out, and I've had a hard time getting into books. So I'm not going to go into all the various books I have finished reading, which haven't been a whole lot actually since my last video. I'll just kind of touch on some of the ones that I did read that I felt worth mentioning, and I will pick that up when I get to the parking lot at work, because that's where I'm headed to right now. All right, we've reached the safety of the parking lot, so I can kind of talk and show you some images of the books I've read. So one of the books I finished reading that I'd like to talk about is by T.J. Klune. I've read several books by this author. I really enjoy them. They're all quirky, interesting characters, a little bit of magical realism, lots of humor, but also lots of other emotions that are drawn up as well, and just does such a fabulous job. The audiobooks are amazing. This one, no less so, made me laugh out loud the way the narrator kind of created these characters and brought them to life. But I'm referring to the book In the Lives of Puppets. It's his latest book. I apologize for the glare. I wasn't really thinking this through, but if I need to, I will insert another image of the book so you can see it better. But you'll see this is a forest with these sort of elevated homes in there. We follow Giovanni Lawson. He is an inventor, creator. He lives with a kind of a robotic creature called Nurse Ratched. She is exceedingly nuts. She's always saying she's going to drill people, but she's also a medical trained robot. And also there's a vacuum cleaner who's a bit dim-witted. I'm trying to recall if I think his name was Romeo or something. The three of them live with one human. These are all robots. The one human is Victor Lawson. He's sort of the adopted son of Giovanni Lawson. And he's following in his adopted father's footsteps, kind of being a creator and inventing things. And he goes off on expeditions a lot with Nurse Ratched and Romeo. I apologize if I've gotten the name wrong, but they go into rubbish heaps and things like that, looking for parts and things. And they stumble across this somewhat dismantled robot, which they decide to put together and name him Hap. And Hap has a past that they will come to find is very much tied to Giovanni. And something happens along the course of the story where Giovanni is kind of kidnapped, taken away, and it's their kind of mission to try to track him down and bring him back home, rescue him. I'd have to describe this as a combination of Pinocchio meets Wizard of Oz meets The Terminator. And that just gives you an idea of how quirky his books are, to be able to combine those kind of three very different books together, or different storylines kind of thing. Really thoroughly enjoyed it. Another book I came across, a lot of people have been talking about it on YouTube, was Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. Again, you can just about see the image there. I was very curious about a book that would have a main creature that is a giant Pacific Northwest octopus, and how that would work. Our said creature is named Marcellus, who lives at an aquarium. He's been there since He was somewhat rescued quite so many years ago. I forget what the lifespan is for these particular creatures, but he's kind of nearing the end of his cycle. And it's the storyline's kind of told from different perspectives. When his point of view is told, his chapters begin with day 1,200 of my captivity, and describes in a very kind of monotone voice the events around him. He specifically talks quite a bit about Tova. She is the elderly woman who comes in and cleans the aquarium in the evenings. He's very observant of her and everything. He tends to get out of his holding quite often, and she has managed to come across him in more than one situation, and kind of has come to accept this weird relationship that develops between them, understanding it in some sort of way. He's a remarkably bright creature himself, although the title's not referring to him. It's more of the humans in the book. From Marcellus's perspective, he sees them as remarkably bright creatures. But he seems to know a lot more than we would imagine, in terms of the surroundings and in terms of Tova herself. He can piece together things. He's very intuitive of her and events in her life somehow. I don't know, but it all works. I felt myself very captivated by him and the characters. There's another character named Cameron who's sort of out searching for a father he never really knew, and it kind of brings him into their orbits and how their storylines are all kind of drawn together. And it was just absolutely delightful. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Another book that I read is one that I've read many books by this author. This is Darcy Coates, and the title is Parasite. Quite a chunky little book. This is one of my favorite horror authors. With her horror books, I describe a lot as sort of like cozy horror. I know that sounds kind of weird, but it's like any kind of cozy mystery, cozy thing like that. There's a bit of a formulaicness to them that you kind of just settle into, and you kind of know what to expect, but you want something original brought to the book. And with her books, that's what I get. I find myself very immersed in them. I'm drawn into the setting. I'm creeped out. I get everything I want out of these. This one's a little bit of a departure for her. It is still horror, but there's a sci-fi element to it. We have these parasitic creatures that are attacking human outposts out in space. They're, how do you describe them? Kind of black, gelatinous, slightly tentacled creatures that can be quite large. They will attack humans and sort of take over their skin, take over their personality. They can be walking around looking like humans and nobody would know. And that is how they are slowly taking over all these various outposts and wiping out humanity. And it becomes this sort of battle to try and find some way to stop them. The way this book ends, though, I would have to say it feels like there's a sequel in the works. Nothing's completely wrapped up. You're satisfied with what you get, but I feel like the author left room if they want to kind of like continue the story. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the sci-fi aspect of it because I love sci-fi, and also the horror aspect because I like that as well. Those in terms of the ones that I have finished reading. I'm currently reading an ebook called The Bookshop Murder by It's a Flora Steele mystery by Maren Allingham. Now, I'm not sure if this was the first in the series. I believe it is. We follow our main character, whose name just suddenly eluded me. But she has inherited a bookshop in a small little village from her aunt who recently passed away. She'd worked there before, but now it's her sole responsibility, and she's still uncertain as if she's going to continue with it or not. She does like bicycle deliveries of books. It's kind of a smaller shop, doesn't get a whole lot of business, but business definitely takes a nosedive when a body is found in the bookshop. There is a author who lives, he's sort of a recluse. He's not seen out in public very much, and he kind of prefers it that way, but he gets his books delivered to him by actually another courier, and something happens to that courier. He's sick, and he happens to be in the bookshop that night to collect the books that he had ordered, and he's the one who actually finds the body when he's kind of just waiting for her to collect his books. He's kind of wandering around and sees this body there. So now the village doesn't want to like shop in there. They're, you know, fearful or whatever, and so her business is really in jeopardy, and so she's got to find some way to solve this. And the police don't seem to be doing much. So she kind of enlists this author who happens to be a crime writer to help her solve the mystery. And he's kind of intrigued by this. You know, this is a real life mystery and maybe an idea for a book down the road. So the two of them are kind of working together, and I'm enjoying it quite a bit. I had made the big mistake, though, something I generally tend not to do, of reading the same genre, or two books in the same genre. So I was reading this ebook, but I was also listening to another book at the same time. I'll have to insert a picture because I don't have one on my iPad right now. Is Murder in an Irish Village. I believe it's Colleen O'Connor. Again, you'll see it on the image. It's book 6 in a series. I didn't realize when I started listening to it, it was book 6. I'd only listened to the first 2 in the series, so I really jumped ahead in terms of plot lines and stuff. So I won't go into too much detail of it. But like I said, 2 mysteries at the same time, it's a little bit confusing. You're trying to, like, in your head, solve the mystery as you're reading it. And now I've got 2 mysteries going on, and I was both kind of British and or Irish, you know, and it just started to kind of blend a little bit. Although I'm really enjoying the Bookshop Murder, I didn't enjoy the Murder in the Irish Village quite as much as I did the very first book in the series. I know the second book I wasn't quite as thrilled. I still enjoyed it a lot, but this one even a little bit less so. So I'll probably backtrack and see how this character got to the point they're at the moment. But they were running a bistro with their multiple siblings after their parents had died, and now this one woman has become a Garda, and she's engaged to another Garda, so she's taken a different path in terms of her profession. But I think I recall something along the lines where in the first or second book it was kind of mentioned that might happen, that she had such a proclivity for solving crimes that, hey, you should do this as a, you know, profession, and I guess that's what she did. But the storyline in that one, her fiance's aunt is found dead in her cottage by his cousin, her daughter, and her daughter's actually the number one suspect at first. It's lots of red herrings around the mystery and stuff like that, but the way things were wrapped up and the way they did the wrap up, I don't know. I didn't enjoy it as much as like I said, book 1 in the series, and slightly less book 2. So we'll see. I'll backtrack on that one. And then what I'm currently listening to now, I'm keeping distance. I don't want to do that double genre again. So I'm reading a cozy, and I'm listening to a horror Audible. It's actually an Audible original, and it's a fully enacted cast, 3D sound, and it's really entertaining. I just finished the first one in the series. This is Impact Winter. Travis Beecham is the author. I don't have all the people, you know, involved in the cast and everything like that, although I recognize the voice of one of them from Game of Thrones, and I've only seen a little bit of Game of Thrones, so I'm pretty sure I've got the voice right. I'll have to check, but I usually have a pretty good thing for voices, less for faces. I don't know why, but I have pretty good with voices. But Impact Winter is focused around survivors from a comet that has struck Earth some 7 years earlier. Of course, the Earth is shrouded in dust. The sun's blocked out. It was quite horrendous. And during that darkness, the vampires that have actually been living on Earth all that time have now found an ability to kind of come out of hiding. And now humans are very well aware of them, and that has now become a bigger threat than just surviving after an impact. And we follow this little band of survivors. Darcy is one of our main characters. Her sister Hope, who's younger. Darcy's become quite adept at fighting the vampires, and Hope is just sort of languishing in her life. She just doesn't know what to do, kind of wishing, you know, things could just be normal again, wanting to get out of the shelter that she seems to be trapped in, and can never get out, and just experienced life. You know, her life is just stagnant, and she sees her sister going out and battling, you know, vampires, doing something with her life, and that kind of gets her into trouble. But it was really, really interesting, that they did a great job enacting everything. I could imagine everything happening. The sound effects were fantastic. Really brought the thing to life. Had a great ending, great wrap up, and now I'm on to Impact Winter 2. Interesting to see where that story goes. But I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and yeah, that's pretty much wrapping up everything I've felt like I wanted to talk about. Kind of like I said, I just didn't want to delay it any further, getting back on here and getting back into the flow of making videos. I actually, when I was thinking about starting it this morning, I forgot I forgot what I used to edit videos. That's how out of touch I've been with this. I had to like search through my phone saying, what was my editing thing? If I remember, it was iMovie. I don't know if you guys use iMovie. It's pretty easy to use. Doesn't have all the, you know, perks I'm sure some actual professional editing software does, but it works for me. It does the job. You know, I'm happy with it. But yeah, if you guys have read any of these books, what did you think of them? I know Remarkably Bright Creatures was on a lot of people's radar. Like I said, it was very, very interesting having an octopus for a main character. And then In the Lives of Puppets by T.J. Klune, where you get a vacuum cleaner for a main character. You know, nothing like a little variety for my reading. So I've been getting back into the flow of reading, finding myself wanting to spend a little more time doing so. So hopefully I will do that. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of Netflix, a lot of Prime Video. I think I finished a couple series. I finished Lost for the second time through. I like that show. Some people, don't like the ending, but I don't care. I love the whole journey of Lost. I watched The Wilds on Prime, and also finished Good Omens 2, which is amazing. I love the book Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. So it's a shame they never got a chance to write the second book, but at least Neil Gaiman's involved in the production of Good Omens 2, and it is fantastic. If you haven't had a chance, watch that. And The Wilds was just a very wild show. Hard to describe what's going on in that one. Check it out if you get a chance to. But anyway, that's all I got to talk about today. I'm going to be getting ready to go to work pretty soon. Hope you guys have been reading something really great. Let me know down below what you've been up to, and if you're still watching, thanks for sticking around. And if you're new here, thanks for joining. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.